this is the one, right? This is the album that just completely, I mean, according to a lot of the comments that I got based off of that 19 album reaction, also combine those comments with looking here at the track list, and I immediately recognize four of these. And that's just off of title of the song. I could recognize more as we listen to more of these tracks. I have no idea, but I definitely know Rolling in the Deep. I definitely know Rumor Has It. I definitely know Set Fire to the Rain, and I definitely know Someone Like You. So right away, you've got four tracks that I already recognize by name. I know what they sound like. I know their melodies. I'm not super familiar with the verses of any of those tracks, but it varies. I'm somewhat familiar with some of them and like not really familiar at all with some of the other ones. But as far as all the choruses go, I know how they go. So to be more dialed into like the verses and the overall sound of the songs and how they blend in with the rest of the album lyrically and sort of the tone that they take as well, and how they're arranged within the album structure as well. So there's still things to take away. But point being is that this is the album that just put her into a whole different stratosphere. It had to have been, just looking at this and again going off of your comments. So that being said, guys, we're here on 21. I will say I've been most excited for 25, just knowing like what that age and just how instrumental an age that is in your life. The self-awareness sort of takes a different turn for most people. Some people just never develop self-awareness, unfortunately. But I can't imagine, Adele just doesn't strike me as the type that doesn't. So I feel like 25 will particularly take a turn that I'm really looking forward to. But for now, we're here for the one that seems to just have exploded. So 21, Adele, let's just get into it. I'm so excited. As always, these reactions fully, completely uncut on my Patreon. The link's in the description if you're so interested. All right, this first track is Rolling in the Deep, another iconic song.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch. But underestimate the things that I will
Again, with those live instruments.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch. Just again, her with the lyricism, something that's been so consistent throughout 19 and now starting off here with Rolling in the Deep. There is and it feels like it's more than reverb. Like it feels like a natural echo on her vocals that I never noticed in this song listening to it in passing. And because she's so just authentic with the real instrumentation, and a lot of her songs very much feel like one take, on 19 anyway, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this was, if like a lot of that natural echo is, she just left it in, I don't know where she records her music, but if she's recording it in a studio that lends itself to a lot of natural echo, or in a place setting that lends itself again to natural echo, and she just leaves it in and just has like a full band going and just like place it into a track like this, it just really has that feel. And even if that's not the case, for her to make that so believable, you're only gonna believe that with certain artists, and she's one of those. It's a very, very small group, so that effect alone, just the mental effect to just think that far into it, for me is already affecting me profoundly diving into this right away. It's such great lyrics. Think of me in the depths of your despair. See, these are the lyrics I was looking for when I got into these bigger songs. In the verses. Right in line with the toms. Oh man, I've never noticed this build-up. She's just got such an honest vocal, it's she's just got such an honest vocal performance on all of these songs that I've heard her do so far. It's just such an honest delivery. It's so just it feels so in the moment, and so from her perspective as well, which is relevant, very relevant, especially from the standpoint of what a lot of these songs are about. Um, Rumor has it, another one I'm familiar with, but probably less than Rolling in the Deep, but definitely the chorus. All right, let's do it. Track two.
Is a stranger. You and I have history, or don't you remember? Sure, she's got it all.
I love this delivery for her. You and I have history, but don't you remember? And even the way she delivers that with a little bit of sort of, it's dripping a little bit in, irony, because like, how the hell don't you remember? Um, oh, I just love. Oh man, I really already with her voice and the way she like changes it when it's necessary.
Stranger, you and I have history, or don't you remember? Sure,
Don't
she's
you
got it all. All of these words
I don't remember this.
whispered in my ear tell a story that I cannot bear to hear. Just 'cause I said it, it don't mean that I meant it. People say crazy things just 'cause I said it. Rumor has it he's the one I'm leaving you for.
Wait, rumor has it he's the one I'm leaving. Wait, she just completely, because oh my god, it went from him leaving her or for someone else that was like half her age and just all the wrong things, and then she was kind of like that side piece as it progressed to him. But and then that became like a rumor that obviously she didn't want to, like, she kept hearing but didn't want to hear, and then it hits bridge that bridge, oh my goodness, that is just I stopped breathing during that bridge. First of all, the way that everything is just stripped away, and yet she still manages to maintain some sort of atmosphere within that bridge, because she's got that sort of it's like a sound from a horror movie, which makes perfect sense because that's the point of the song that we're at, because that's how she's sort of feeling. But then that leads into him, gaslighting and using and just doing making all these terrible choices, and he thinks he can have everything, right? Have his cake and eat it too. I think that's the expression. But she ends up leaving him, who's just fucking her over, for someone else, and that's how you end the song, and you incorporate the rumor has it. And it's so smart. And again, I said this during Rolling in the Deep. This is why I love doing this, because I've heard, again, not familiar with those verses whatsoever, but like I know the rumor has it, rumor has it, rumor has it. Like that's all I think about when I hear the song. Now I'm thinking about so many other different things. I love that. Okay, Turning Tables, track 3.
I can't keep up with your turning tables under your thumb. I can't breathe. So I won't let you close enough to hug me. No, I won't ask you to 100 storms to leave you. As hard as you try, no, I will never be knocked down.
As hard as you try, played 100 storms.
Up with your turning tables under your thumb. I can't breathe.
I love the way. Oh, I love the way when she sings "Breathe." It's with like half a breath. It's not the full, because before that, she's giving this full delivery, full breaths before her words, and with that one, it's like half, and it's perfect because under your thumb, I can't breathe. Also, this turning tables concept. I'm not totally sure, but like, turn the tables is an expression, and we're all familiar with it. When you turn the tables on someone and just sort of catch them off guard. Usually not in the best way. You can use turning tables in a positive way, though. Like, oh, I really turned the tables. Things worked out for the best, and with whatever I did, whatever action I did to cause the turning of the tables. So it can be used in a positive light. Obviously, that's not the case here. But assuming that's what she's getting at, then yeah, you don't want to be a part of someone who's constantly turning the tables, someone who's constantly catching you off guard and changing things up in what's obviously not the best way, because she can't breathe under that thumb. So under that light, we have a theme going on here, and it's pain.
I won't let you me, I can give you what you think you gave me. It's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Turning tables.
Oh, she could do so many things with her voice. It's not fair. To have all that power and natural soul in your voice and still be able to do all those runs with that same power is ridiculous. And we're 3 for 3 so far. I mean, obviously, Rolling in the Deep and Rumor Has It are iconic songs, but I love that one as well. I'm not looking at the stream, so I don't know if this one competed with those. I have no idea. I had never heard it though, and I love it. I love the whole concept of it. I love her distinct. There's some storytelling here, and not only that, there's some real, like, we are writing her emotions more than anything. I feel like as the songs go from start to finish, we feel she's telling an emotional story, like, that really encompasses what she was going through and feeling throughout a song from start to finish, and it changes. It's a bit of a roller coaster, and you're really riding that roller coaster with her. She does a really good job of making you come along for that ride, and a part of that, again, is her vocal delivery, but the storytelling, the songwriting, it's just all so well done. You know, she reminds me of vocally a little bit Perry Edwards, and I obviously mean that in the highest compliment. I think Perry Edwards is one of the top 5 female vocalists alive currently. I think about this from time to time, and every time I think of, like, what my list would be of a top 5, and, you know, I not to, like, pit women against each other, but, you know, this is a compliment to whoever would be in that 5. I think of them sort of similarly from a vocal standpoint, as far as, like, what they can do, how they can incorporate power into their vocals, but they still have, like, extreme power, like the best of the best from just, like, a sheer power standpoint. But there's so much within that, they can still go to so many places after that. A lot of the times you have a powerhouse vocal and that's just their lane, and it's not like anything else, and that's great and fantastic. But for the two of them, they can do so many other things as well, along with just that, like, elite powerhouse vocal. And I love the two of them. Blow me away. You guys, if you've seen any of my reactions to Little Mix, you know that Perry Edwards blows me away vocally. Okay, so Don't You Remember is track 4. Bringing the guitars back. I was wondering when this would come in, because I got more of this than I thought I'd get on 19.
I know I have a fickle heart and a bitterness and a wandering eye and heaviness in my head. But don't you remember?
Oh my god, this is my favorite one so far. Yeah. And it's so much sadder because she tries to make excuses for it by saying, like, yeah, I know that I feel things very heavy, like, and I have all these. She's, like, creating all these excuses as to why, you should feel this way too, or I'm sorry that if you don't feel this way, I'm just letting you know I'm sorry that, I've got this bitterness and this heavier head, if that's what she had said. She just, like, prefaced it so much, and that makes it so much sadder, especially when you go into that chorus and she doesn't stop. Like, vocally, she leaves, like, no room to breathe in between her in between her vocals. It's just a constant. Don't you remember? Drags it out, and it stabs at you, and it's the melody of all of it too. And it's like, how could you just forget about me? How? And then again, it's the way she prefaced it that makes it so much sadder too. Oh, I love this. Is my favorite one so far.
Oh, have you completely erased me from your memory? I often think
right there is magic.
Why don't you remember?
Don't you remember? Don't you remember? Don't you remember? She's come to realize, oh, you fucking don't. Why don't you remember?
Don't you remember?
His vocal performance as well.
Baby, please remember
Man.
me once more. When will I see you again?
You just leave it so you end the song and you just leave it so open-ended like that. After all that pain that you just went through for those 4 minutes, and you just, it's open-ended. It's like, well, I'm still here waiting. Oh goodness, this is a level of sadness that I did expect, by the way. I definitely did expect. But like, it's so this reputation, right? Adele, that's the thing. You go into Adele's music never not being familiar with it, like like the deep cuts anyway, and like even the real lyrical content of the big hits, and you still just know that she is known as pretty much as that person that represents sadness, and it's well earned. It's well earned. It's not like a cheap, cheaply earned description. Like, she earned it with these cuts here and these. I mean, you add a song like that. When will I see you again? After all of that. Okay, Set Fire to the Rain. It's another song I'm familiar with, but let's get more familiar. The opening of this reminds me of Impossible. Right, I don't even know. The original singer of that song is, I have like 5 versions of this song on my phone. Chantel. Yeah, I've got James Arthur's version. I got Frankie J's version. I've got yeah, everyone loves to cover this song, and for good reason. Anyways, it just reminds me of that. And those you know what those violins do? Adding them back there like that as well. It makes it feel like it's raining as well. It adds a level of chaos, is what it does to the song. Especially that part that makes it feel like it's raining. I love that watched delivery. I love the way she delivers these. I guess it's not all. Some of it is so subtle, especially the delivery of that last line there, and she keeps doing it every time it comes around. It's so subtle, and it just makes it that much more heartbreaking.
Cause I knew that was the last time.
Wow, that's my second. That's my second favorite. That's my second favorite. Easily. Wow. Okay, I need to look up some of these. I did look up some of the lyrics. Man, these 2 in a row are really starting to shift things for me. Shift things in a place as far as to get my 2 favorite songs on the album after hearing songs to start the album off that I already knew were like beyond iconic. Really says a lot about where this album is going and what this album is so far, almost halfway through it. I set fire to the rain, watched it pour as I touched your face. Well, it burned while I cried, because I heard it screaming out your name. I watched it pour. I set fire to the rain. I'm picturing that rain turning into like fire, like more fire. Watched it burn while I cried, because I heard it screaming out your name, your name. That's so that's so dark. That's so dark. That's so and the imagery of that is I'm picturing that. I am picturing some, first of all, extreme intensity. Like the feelings, the things that were going on in her head and in her heart were extreme feelings. To be able to draw that up lyrically and have that go on through in my head is it's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, let's keep going somehow. He Won't Go is next track.
Some say I'll be better without you.
I would say so,
like I do.
but she knows.
Or at least the sides I thought I knew. I can't bear this down.
But I know you like I do, or at least as much as I thought I knew. But you, what she said word. She formed words so exquisitely that it literally threw me off of me being able to speak. Taylor does that a lot. Okay, my goodness.
Drags on as I lose my mind. Reminded by things I find.
It's got a nice knock to it.
Like notes and clothes you've left behind. Wake me up when all is done. But I won't go. I can't do it on my own. If this ain't love, then what is? I'm willing to take the risk. I won't go. I can't do it on my own. If this ain't love, then what is? I'm willing to take the risk.
There's a lot of battling your own pride in this album, and you know, trying to discern pride versus feelings and what's real and what's not, and there's a lot of that going on, a lot of it, and this song being pretty much right in the middle of the album perfectly represents that. Also, this is unrelated to this song right here, but I just can't stop. I still have Set Fire to the Rain on my mind. I really want to. I know that this has to be a music video for that song, right? I assume it was a single because I was familiar with it, so I assume there's a music video. God, I hope I'm not wrong. And I would love to watch that music video because there's so much going on in my head as far as that song goes. Okay, let's go back to this because it's the perfect middle song here to really represent what the hell is going on with all of this.
I didn't know a single word he said. Not one resemblance to the man I met. Just a vague and broken boy instead. But I won't go.
Instead, no, hold on.
Can't do it on my. So petrified.
Yeah.
I'm so scared to step into this ride. What if I lose my heart and fail the climb? I won't forgive me if I give up trying. I heard just a vague and broken boy instead. But
just a vague. See, but that's the problem. See, is that it's not no resemblance to the man I knew previously. Just a vague or no resemblance to the man I met. I think she said man, right? Just a vague and broken boy. Instead, she says boy as opposed to man, and she says broken boy. See, that's the key word there. She's saying broken, so she is giving a pass to a lot of the behavior when she says that, and that's a lot of why she can't help but stick around to an extent or hold out some sort of hope to an extent, because she's classifying this person as broken, which means that maybe there's a semblance of hope that I can piece it back together, or it can be pieced back together in whatever regard or however it gets done, and that can still be there, because she said earlier on, like, I know what love is, and that's what this is, and it goes right back into me just feeling like there's a lot of battle between, you know, hopelessness and hope, and what's real versus what's not, and pride and having to set that aside, or having to, you know, step towards that pride and fully embrace that and move on in the situation and realize, like, this is not okay behavior. There's just so much behind all of this, and I'm just loving it.
I won't go. I can't do it on my own. He won't go. He can't do it on his own.
Wow.
This ain't love, then what is? He's willing to take the risk.
I was waiting for her to, first of all, choose the poison line. Holy fuck. Like what he'll choose now versus what she'll choose, and she's like convincing herself based on, he said, like, you know, hold your breath, which is goes against the expression of "don't hold your breath." And she referenced earlier in the album, like I think it was on Turning Tables, right? Like can't breathe under his thumb, which makes me think of that, by the way. Which again makes me think of all this is all about the same person. It feels like anyway the way she's telling this story, and I was waiting for her to incorporate the "he won't go," and now we're on the other end of it. And again, she's just wrapped up in this just place in her head where you're just holding on to something by a thread, and you hold on to that so tight at all costs. And that's what I'm feeling from this. Oh man, the way that piano bleeds out kind of scares me because it kind of feels like it's a tragic ending. I mean, I don't like that. I don't like that for her. Oh, okay. I love the way that song was structured. I love it. Okay, take it all, track 7.
Didn't I give it up? Tried my best.
Oh man.
Gave you everything I had. Everything and no less. Didn't I do it right to let you down? But go on and take it. Take it all with you. Don't look back at this crumbling fool. Just take it.
Oh, Dave. Oh my God. Take it all. Don't look back at this crumbling fool. Adele, don't do that to yourself. I guess she already did, huh?
It all with my love. Take it all with my love.
That with my love line.
Take it all.
Killing me to end this.
My love.
To end those lines off with.
I will change if I must. Slow it.
I will change it if I must. Like that. I don't know. See, I don't know enough. You don't even need to know really about her personal life I feel like to understand that this woman was fucking going through it in her own mind. Like, I will change if I must. Again, I feel like it goes back to that same, like, her pride is non-existent in a lot of the sentiment of some of these songs here, and a lot of it, and you know, she's been so particular with some songs about how this person just did her so wrong, and so and she says it herself. She's like, this crumbling fool. Like, I am a fool but she's acknowledging it. She's acknowledging it. I will change if I must. Come on. And I'm just so, you know what's interesting about this is that she's 21, and to listen to the progression, right? Like, I would imagine as we get to 25 and then obviously 30, is we're just going to see like a real molding of a person. It's like a human being, and how feelings actually, like, this is a real thing. This is a real thing that people actually go through. I've been through this. You know, I've felt like I should adjust myself, probably for the worst, to better fit someone's preferences of what what they would want in a partner, and it's like self-sabotage to a degree, because oh man, and ultimately you're a fool for doing so, because you're just you're not loving yourself to the degree that you should. But you don't realize that until later on. You know, at 21, it's so hard to be aware enough to realize that. And songs like this make me feel better about looking back and thinking about the dumb decisions I made on my own behalf, where I should have just loved myself a little harder.
If only you knew everything I do is for you.
Oh, man.
Take it all with my love.
It's just incredible. It's an incredible song, guys. what a ride so far. I said before, this is literally the Adele the emotions of Adele roller coaster album. That's what this is. All right, I'll be waiting. Track 8. Reminds me of Charlie Brown.
For my sins, yes, I swam dirty waters, but you pushed me in.
Swam dirty waters. Ooh, I swam dirty waters, but you pushed me in. Please forgive me for my sins. Reminds me of the way Rolling in the Deep ended. Oh, no. Rumor has it. Reminds me of the way Rumor Has It ended.
When you're ready to love me again, I'll put my hands up. I'll do everything different. I'll be better to you. I'll be waiting for you. When you're ready to love me again, I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you. Let me
I'll be somebody different.
so I can tell you that I was wrong. I was a child then, but now willing to love.
But you said that he pushed you into the dirty. Let me tell you, I was wrong. But earlier you said that he's the one that pushed you into the dirty waters. So why are we dropping his? Like, she's being accountable for her actions, which we love. We stand that. But why doesn't he have to be accountable? See, it's not fair. It's so not fair that I literally forget where my keyboard is.
We had to love me again. I put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you.
But you see the miles between us, time between us, now the skies are blue, does indicate a different layer to the issues that separate her and this other former partner. And that's being a part of the industry now, right? Because now we've gone from 19 and she had success with that. And I would assume she was potentially toured it. If she didn't tour it, she was on the road for promo or whatever it might be. And there was a distance, or even if that's not the case, no matter either way, there was a distance between them, and that caused an issue. And she's indicating a lot of that now is what some of the problems were and why this time around she's more prepared for what they could have. Because now that she's gone through all, she is better equipped to navigate that distance that they had between them. So it creates a different layer and a whole different area of responsibility as far as what caused the issue in the relationship. That kind of takes the onus off of both of them in that regard. But I still can't get over, obviously a lot of lines throughout this album, but then the line in this song, she just said, like, you pushed me into the dirty waters and that's why I sinned. So the guy's not clean in this situation. And again, it just goes to show that she's holding onto things by a thread throughout this whole album. And ultimately, she's just really in love. Like, she's so in love. She's so young. And the thing, the places we'll go to sacrifice lots of ourselves to maintain this adoration of the concept of love. Because oftentimes it's what it is. It's more of just this concept of love, more so than us actually loving the individual person. Most of the time, sometimes it's real, but oftentimes it's just you being in love, infatuated with the concept of love, rather than that actual love. Okay, let's keep going and having her making my brain bleed and hurt.
To love me again, I'll put my hands up. I'll be somebody different. I'll be better to you.
Oh, it's over. I didn't even realize it was going to be over. Okay, let's go on to track 9, One and Only.
You've been
Very like church.
on my mind. I grow fonder every day, losing myself in time. You'll never know if you never try to forgive your past and simply be mine. I dare you to let me be the one and only.
that line. Oh. Fuck, I hate that line. I'm sorry. I hate that line. Oh my goodness. Because that's just so messed up. Because we go from, she's like, I dare you to let me be, and it's for, oh, I love this song so far, first of all. But this is so sad, guys, because we're back into the trying to get this person to get past their own demons, and she said earlier in the album that she wanted to be there for that person and try and piece them together, or you know, make excuses for whatever their past was, which is why they behave how they behave now, and how she would accept them at all costs ultimately, and now here she's getting more into that. We're more into that, and for her to say pretty much that again, where, you know, I know you have a past and it plays into why you are how you are now, but I know you can get through that and become this part. Like, she has so much belief in this person as a partner, so much love, so, like, just so much. But for her to say, I promise I'm worthy. So here's the problem, is that the other person obviously doesn't see that she's worthy. They don't. There's no way they don't, based on everything she said so far. And for her to have to preface so many feelings and statements to this other person, and then have to convince them that she's worthy, is just so sad to me. It's so fucking sad. And I've been there, and I promise that 95% of the people that are watching this right now have been there. It's just a real thing, and even if it's not like a relationship thing, you can relate it to something. You can relate it to the feeling you've had with a parent, you know, or an older sibling, or something in life somewhere. And but as far as this narrative goes, this is fucking sad, and I don't even want to keep going. Honestly, that hit me so hard. Fuck. Okay. All right. Let's gather ourselves somehow. Why am I doing so much sad stuff lately? I gotta throw something in the mix that's not so sad. I'm listening to too much sad stuff, guys. This stuff is gonna make me depressed. More depressed than I already am. Come on.
The one and only. Promise I'm worthy.
I hate that line.
To hold in your arms. So come on and give me the chance.
This is.
To prove I'm the one who can. If I've been on your mind, you hang on every word I say. Lose yourself in time. How it feels to hold you close and have you tell me whichever road I choose you'll go.
Will I ever know what it feels like to have you close and have you tell me whatever road I choose you'll go? Like, will I ever know what that is? Because I'm constantly going the roads that you choose. Like, I'm consistently bending over backwards and altering my personality and the things that I hold dear to me to bend towards you and make you love me. But like, I want to know what it feels like for you to sort of be on that end to whatever degree she's getting it. And it's just, again, this is, I need to breathe.
Don't know why I'm scared, 'cause I've been here before. Every feeling, every word, I've imagined it all.
This is one of the more vulnerable albums I've ever heard in my life, by the way. It's easily up there.
Dare to let me be your one and only, until the end starts.
it might be my favorite song on the album. It's definitely in my top 4 so far, which I'll let you know at the end, of course, as always. And all I have to say is a couple of things aside from that. Like having to prove your own worth is just a place that you never want to be. And secondly, I hate feeling things. I love it and I hate it. It's such a love-hate thing. Shout out to all of you that feel things. I feel you. I feel you. Track 10, Love Song. Love Song. One word. Love Song. Scary.
Alone with you.
Oh, this is nice.
You make me feel like I am young again. Whenever I'm alone with you, however far away, I will always love you. However long I stay, I will always love you. Whatever words I say, I will always love you.
Okay, so a couple thoughts. The sound of that song is beautiful. I love the instruments. I love the instrumentation. I love the arrangement. I love that it sort of gives me this like lounge, not even like jazz club, but sort of I'm in a very like I don't know how to describe it. It's like I guess jazz lounge club. It's the best way to describe it. It feels very like um, um, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just aesthetic. If that makes sense to anybody. I do not love the lyrics on this song. It just doesn't. It doesn't, especially in comparison with a lot of the other songs on this album. But I will say, I do feel like. That said, the simple approach to the lyricism in this song does match that instrumentation and the sound of it. So I'm not mad at it in that regard. It does make sense, and it does make sense as far as what it follows, and it sort of drives that point across even more. Drives her feelings for this person across that much harder. It does tie into a couple of other songs too, as far as like distance and how that was an issue at one point in this relationship she had with this person, and how she wants to drive across the point that no matter what, like this is my feeling towards you. And no matter what, including like no matter whatever you're doing. So it does its job in that regard. And I'm not mad at the lyrics because I feel like that was the only way you could really approach that sort of song arrangement. It's just compared to the other ones, it doesn't really quite hold up for me. But I do feel like it is necessary. I will say that. Okay, Someone Like You. Of course I know this song. So let's close it out.
I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over.
Wow. Holy fuck, she will not give up.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
Oh, never
I
mind.
wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remember you say sometimes it lasts and loves, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it hurts instead.
I love the no H on the hurts there. Yeah, you don't even, you're in pain, right? Sometimes it hurts instead. In our situation, it hurt instead, for me anyway, because you've moved on and settled down. I wasn't up to par. Like this person did for you things that I couldn't, obviously, because everything's worked out for you. I'm not even gonna get into why that's so sad. You know, but and so you get to that chorus, and obviously you're on the hurt end of things, not the love last end of things. So you're just so distraught by that hurt. Why would you pronounce the H, right? It's just so clever.
Oh, how the time flies. Only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were
It was yesterday, time flies.
Yeah. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind.
See that perfectly. That whole like, I turned up uninvited out of the blue. I hope, and for me it isn't over. For me it isn't over. It's so Notebook, by the way, right? That's so Notebook. For anyone seen The Notebook and is a fan of The Notebook, one of my favorite movies of all time. No shame, fucking great movie. God, does that movie mess me up though emotionally? But yeah, it isn't over. Still isn't over. You guys know. I get giddy thinking about that movie. Okay. Anyways, I can't stop thinking about that movie now. But then it's like the Nevermind. It's like literally that encompasses this full back and forth emotional battle she has had throughout this whole album.
Oh, don't forget me, I beg. I remember you said
That delivery.
sometimes it lasts in love.
To me, first of all, this is one of the greatest songs ever made. Right? It's no secret. This is one of the greatest songs ever made, ever. This is that song that, like, no matter who you are, no matter like where you're from, what cultural background you're from, no matter how you grew up, right? This song comes on and you have some level of appreciation for it. Whether you're the biggest fan of Adele or like big piano ballads, or if you're like big, like a fan of just the opposite kind of music, this song plays, and if you don't like appreciate or respect the song, I just like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Right? So it's one of those songs. It's one of those all-time fucking history of music iconic songs. Also, this closes the album out kind of perfectly for me, I feel like. And I say that because I saw a few messages about, and I'm going to listen to another song right now. Actually, having said what I'm saying now, I saw a few comments about this side tunes track that was like exclusive, that was supposed to close this album, or not supposed to, but like it was like an additional bonus. I don't know. But they said a few of the comments I saw, be it both from Patreon and YouTube, saying that it closes out the album fantastically, I suppose. Even though I feel like this closed it out perfectly with that sort of battle, you know, within that Nevermind, and so, like literally sometimes it lasts, sometimes it hurts instead. Like that literally encompasses this whole album to me. So I'm curious to see if the next one does it any better. All right, so this is I Found a Boy, which was created in the time span of this album. Again, I say this whenever something arises that came from a bunch of comments, whether it was one comment that got a lot of likes or just like a bunch of comments that were of the same vein. I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to not listen to you guys. You guys are the reasons that I'm here. So I'm going to listen to I Found a Boy and see how this would close out the album. All right, let's do it.
I thought I told you he'd be home soon. Couldn't help myself. Oh, like a bomb before explosion, ticking by your call.
Like a bomb before explosion ticking. Even I didn't miss that fire line, by the way, but like a bomb before explosion ticking by your call. Ooh, oh.
The wiser one, so stand beside the river I cried and lay yourself down. Look how you want me now that I don't need you.
I needed that. I thank thank you all, whoever you were, for making sure I listened to this, because I needed this. I After that album, I needed her to say this. Yes, you fucking go, Adele.
At the first sight of you crawling back to me,
God damn it.
to whisper, will you leave your mate? 'Cause you swear that this time you can stand by me.
It's the classic, like, don't know what you have till it's gone, and just after the fact you try and it's such a classic just douchey move. Like, come on.
I won't stand by you, 'cause I found a boy who I love more than I ever did you before. Long and ignore the ride when I found a boy who loves me more than you ever did before. So stand beside the river you cry and lay yourself down.
I love it, turning from the river she cried. Either way, he had to stand beside the river she cried. I mean, now it's the river he cried, because he's been crying so much because he's got no choice. She ain't taking him back. He fucked it up. You know, she's moved. She's found something superior to that. And now he's been standing beside that river that she cried as a result of him, by the way. Like, all those tears were a result of him. And he had to stand beside that river. And now he's cried so much, deservedly so, that now, and hopefully a lesson learned for him, so it doesn't happen to anyone else. He's cried so much, so now it's the river that he's cried, because so many of his tears are now in that part of that river.
Look how you want me now, but I don't need you.
Yeah, this ends it off nicely. This ends it off beautifully. I think they both end off I think Somebody Like You does actually end the album off wonderfully. If there's not like a resolution, this obviously gives an actual resolution. So if you're looking for a resolution in the ending of the album, this ends it off beautifully. Someone Like You, is it Somebody Like You or Someone Like You? Someone Like You ends the album off where it feels more open-ended, and it makes it a bit sadder. If you're into that, I'm kind of into really sad, tragic things for whatever reason. I guess the masochist in me, and anyways, they both work so well for very different reasons. But I'm so glad I got to listen to that one, because I'm just glad to personally know that obviously Adele's, this is like 10 years ago. But I'm just glad to personally know that she, on a personal level, was able to, in this time frame particularly, like, get to a place where she was able to move beyond what she was dealing with. Because my goodness, was she dealing with so much inner struggle, and that's what this whole album feels like. It feels like, again, I said it so many times, I'm gonna say it one more time now that we're done here. This battle against your own pride, and this battle against hardly even that. It's more so like just a like you tear your, she said it herself, she will become whatever version of herself fits the needs of this man that has gaslighted her and lied to her and done her wrong. And but she's so in love. And obviously they had something beautiful and great at one point, because she rode that high so much that it's led her to this point now where she just wants to get that back, and she'll deal with his demons, or try and fix his demons, or hope that he fixes them, and whatever, she'll be there. And just, you got like this man, oh my goodness. And even if we're talking about more than one person, it feels like it's all wrapped up around this one just long emotional back and forth she was dealing with. That's what it really feels like. But even if it's like more than one situation, it still works so well, because one would either be terrible, which she painted it in a terrible light, but then she was also painting it in a light where she'll still be there, where it could be like a different situation. Either way, I am in love with the emotional roller coaster she was able to set for us. Like, I know that this album obviously has a lot more big, huge hits than 19 does, but I feel like this album does a better job as far as taking you on that emotional roller coaster. But it's gonna do that though, because at 21 you're gonna go through more of that kind of stuff than you would at 19. You just are. It just kind of is reality of it. And also you're gonna be older. You're gonna have a better understanding of how to word that stuff and how to take your listeners along for that ride. So I think it worked out wonderfully from that regard. I can't explain to you enough how excited I am for 25, considering that to me personally, that just is such a formative year, and particularly self-awareness, which honestly, like a lot of that, there's a lot of accountability, self-awareness, but a lot of it is like not in, like, I Found a Boy, right, is the turning point of realizing your own self-worth. And by the way, I don't know. One and Only is probably my favorite song on this whole album, but I don't know. Was it One and Only where she's talking about trying to convince this person that she's worth it? I don't think I can ever listen to that song ever again because of how much that hurt me in the context of that album. But to search for your self-worth within this whole album, what I'm hoping for in 25 is that through all the years she was able to get to that point. I'm hoping maybe I Found a Boy was that launching pad for her to reach that point. We'll see what 25 is all about. I got no idea. None. But that's coming up, obviously. I gotta go somehow breathe, recover. This shaky table is like my mind, heart, and breath right now. None of it is in control based on what I just went through here. So I'll tell you guys my favorites. My favorites here are, I'll give you 5. They're Don't You Remember, Set Fire to the Rain, Take It All, One and Only, Someone Like You. So my 5 favorites on this album. Is it One and Only what I was talking about with that I don't want to listen to again? Because I think that's my favorite song on the album. Yeah.
Walk that mile until the end starts. So come on and give me the chance. Promise I'm worthy.
That is the best song on the album to me, and it's the most painful one too. And it's just, oh my goodness, that one. And man, Take It All is incredible. Don't You Remember is incredible. And obviously Set Fire to the Rain and Someone Like You are as popular as they are for a reason. It's really hard to like really break down songs that are that iconic. But those are my 5 favorites. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I know I've kept you here long, so I won't keep you any longer.